Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. In this video, we're going to take a look, actually it's kind of a revisit of the US dollar, which is in distress, and that's not news. But what might be news is that there's a prediction about when we can actually see some big changes to the preeminence of the US dollar on the world stage. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll share the screen. As always, when I go to a compilation, I'll have a link to that Facebook post and you can look at the items yourself at your own leisure if you choose to. Okay, 1 second. Okay, now comment number 1. It talks about an ex-CIA advisor. He reveals the date when he says we can really see the beginning of the end of the US dollar's hegemony or preeminence or predominance. And that is when the BRICS Annual Leaders Summit starts on August 22nd. Okay, now, no surprise, our US Treasury Chief is in denial that there's any problems with the US dollar. Yeah, right. When more and more countries are finding that they're willing to accept other currencies besides the US dollar in trade, that's already going on. And we've got banks that are struggling, okay? Actually, the banking situation was mentioned in the latest audio file by S.G. Anon. Here's a link to it here, and it occurs about halfway through or so. He talks about how miraculously 20, 30, I don't know how many tens of billions of dollars have been infused into banks in the last, deposited into banks in the recent week. Okay, now there was way more billions that could be justified by the average worker putting money in the bank. Obviously, the deep state is getting into their pallets and bunkers and infusing cash into the banking system to prop it up. Now, why are they doing that? They've got some faith in the fact that the three-letter agencies, which are working to cause some discord in BRICS, are going to be effective. So I think those days are gone, personally. I've got a more mainstream site here that talks about how the US dollar is struggling. And then I couldn't find where Rose Rambles had originally found this one, which talks about the dollar's demise as well. Because I like to go to the original link whenever I can, but it's a very good article here, and I've got the link for it so you don't have to scroll through, dozens of the things that she aggregates and compiles. Okay. Now we know that the universe, using the tarot cards, isn't always a great medium for exact dates, but we can ask if it's something's an indicator, a harbinger of an event. And that's what I'd like to do. Since we have a specific date that was mentioned, the start of that BRICS annual conference, when one of their main agenda items there is to craft a currency that will be accepted across their many nations, and it's asset backed, to have an official currency adopted. And that is the kind of the, I don't want to say death knell, because I think we already kind of heard it, that's going to be a definitive defining day for the US dollar. So now, before we go further with this video or this read, I want to do a disclaimer. I am not a financial expert, period. I don't give financial advice. I'm willing to share what my financial choices are, but that doesn't make them right for everyone. I don't want anyone to ever suffer financially and have it be because I led them astray. It's one of the reasons I don't sponsor, endorse any kind of products or brands or services. Now, but I do believe in being as candid and honest with you as I can. And I haven't changed from my original position on finances. I believe the alt media chatter that our banking system is mirrored, and that if there's a disruption because the dollar finally dies, or the banking system is closed for a few days, that interruption is going to be temporary in nature. I've planned accordingly. I have left my my personal funds in 2 different banks, except for what I need for a short interruption of services. That was my choice. Your choice may be different. Honor what your conscience and your intuition and your research tells you to do. Okay. But for this video today, let's take a look at the dollar and see what the universe wants us to know about this alt media chatter that the BRICS Leaders Summit that convenes starting on August 22nd is going to be a really important day for the US dollar and its place in the world stage, and then other insights and information that the universe deems appropriate. Okay, so the accuracy of the chatter and then insights and information as deemed appropriate. And again, as always, this is for this timeline. So the one I'm on, that you're on, that is watching this, the majority of us, the timeline that will be on August 22nd, is this chatter accurate? And then other insights and information. Let's find out together. Just a second. Okay, is the alt media chatter that the BRICS Leaders Summit is going to be a pivotal time for the US dollar? Is that accurate? And other insights and information on the dollar that the universe wants to share for those of us on this timeline. And we'll see what the universe wants us to know. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Cups, Queen of Cups, the Star, King of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. I'll bet if you've been watching even a half dozen of my videos, you don't need me to tell you everything I'm seeing here. Some of it you'll already have. Okay. Hey, I'm going to tell you what the cards kind of are informing me, and then we'll look at the elements of the cards that kind of back up what I tell you. Okay, our question was, is that BRICS Leaders Summit starting on August 22nd going to be pivotal for the US dollar and its place on the world stage? And the BRICS nations with their asset-backed currency are absolutely pushing for a very stable and well thought out currency alternative. So it's looking really good for them to have that done. That will change the way the place of the US dollar on the world stage. And we kind of know that the fiat dollar needs to end so that we can bring in asset-backed currencies. Now, I'm not talking about digital stuff, although there may be a digital component to it. I'm talking about genuine asset-backed currency that we can hold, as well as what we can use with our debit cards and things like that. Okay, now in the recent past, we have the Eight of Cups showing up. Okay, Eight of Cups. First, cups are our emotions, and there's a big nod here to finances in our 3D and evolving world do play a big part in our reality. We have to use currency and money. It's an emotional subject, especially if you have struggled at any time, and I know I have financially in my life. Yeah. There was a time I worked for $10 a day washing dishes. Okay, not even minimum wage. But it was important to me to honestly earn the money I used. So, yeah. So it's an emotional subject. Absolutely. Moving forward, though, we've got some beautiful cards showing up here. All right. We've got my the penultimate 17 card. The Star card is the 17th major arcana. It is the best of the best as far as my 17 organization card showing up. Plus, the Star always talks about the calm after the storm. So by August 22nd, when they meet, It is going to be pivotal. It is going to be important. It's going to cause some topsy-turvy emotions as people see these changes being affected. And it's going to, obviously, the MSM is going to be ramping up their fear porn so that we do worry and get anxious. And please don't, folks, please don't. Okay? Because in the near future, we got the star card. And this is, again, the calm after the storm. That keeps showing up in my near future. And those of you that follow a certain organization, that should be very gratifying to hear, that the universe is telling us that we're really close to a calm after a storm. The King of Swords, another alliance card, another good guy card showing up here. King of Swords is about truth and knowledge and just be very rational and impartial. Okay, great with contractual matters. So as our dollar does make some changes and it is coming to an end of its lifespan, and if you've done any research about dollars, a fiat dollar usually has about a 70 or so year lifespan, and ours is ready to go. I mean, it's outlived its purpose. So asset-backed currency is the way to go, and BRICS are going to be one of the elements of ushering in a global trend towards asset-backed currencies. There's some that already have it. Good for them. Unfortunately, those of us in G7 countries, we're going to be late to the party. Let's see if there's some other information the universe wants us to know. Okay, we have a 5 of Wands, which says, again, this change is going to be, there's going to be attempts on the part of the mainstream and deep state to make it dramatic. It'll be temporary in nature. And the Hermit's showing up. He doesn't show up very often. So we've got another major arcana. This is our, depends on what your lens is, our divine element. That this change, move away from dollars, even though dollars are very, currency is a very 3D concept. The importance of it and the need for change is something that we're getting some help with. Now, if your lens is simply that this card indicates a divine element, that's fine, because that's plenty right there. But if it also indicates that we're getting some help from benevolent beings that we call the Alliance, that isn't beyond just the alliance of countries that are working to affect some changes that help humanity, but maybe even some benevolent off-world help. Whatever your lens allows, it's being the situation and the move from near past to present to future is being overseen, because it's always good to look and see what the Hermit is shining a light on. Sometimes it's meaningful, and I think in this read it is. Okay, we got a little advice because we were asking for some insights. Okay, the 4 of Pentacles. Look at all the pentacles that showed up today, because pentacles are real tangible goods. So that's your gold, your silver, your money, your currencies, whatever they might be, and real estate, home, things like that, tangible goods showing up here because we're asking about tangible assets. Our advice card here is the 4 of Pentacles, and that means to be careful with your resources. So again, you may, whatever you feel is wise and you can afford to do with your money. Like I said, I have a little tucked away that's actually I can physically put my hands on to get me through a disruption. But that was my personal choice. The Queen of Pentacles is giving us just a little reassurance. Queen of Pentacles she's emotional intelligence and very compassionate. Okay, that ultimately things involving money for us are going to be secure and fine and handled with a great deal of wisdom. So found that kind of interesting. Let's recap. We asked if there was any validity to the chatter and speculation that the BRICS leaders convening on August 22nd will be kind of a big marker for the demise of the US dollar and its place in the world stage. We got some definite money-related advice from the cards about that. First of all, our basic question was indicated by the Page of Pentacles. And then kind of a little more about it by the Knight of Pentacles. And so the page is about a financial opportunity. That's, I mean, one of the main things, and the reliable financial opportunity. And the Knight of Pentacles is always about stability and well thought out forward motion. So yeah, they're going ahead with this, and it's going to definitely affect the US dollar. Now, we were acknowledged with a couple of cups cards that those changes are going to be emotional, not just because so much of what our reality revolves around involves money, but there's going to be some mainstream fear mongering, things like that. And you need to be on guard against that and not allow your emotions to be managed. Don't let the tail wag the dog. Okay. If you've decided to ride out a situation in a certain way, and you know that you've used as much wisdom as possible in making your decision, don't let yourself fall into fear and anxiety. Okay. There are energies that feed on that. If our thoughts create our reality, and I believe they do, then the more that our thoughts are allowed to direct towards negative outcomes, the more possible they become. So let's just, as I say, not even go there. In the near future, we had the Star card show up. Star card, 17th major arcana, and one of its meanings is the calm after the storm. So as the dollar goes through its distress and demise, that is going to really be a big signal for the calm after the storm, for good things for humanity. Absolutely. I think it's only a coincidence if you thought about it. If you look at the date, 08-22-23, what do you get? 17. But that may not even connect. But then they say there's no coincidences. So the Knight of Swords showed up, just a little nod that things are under control, that the distress of the dollar has to happen, the demise has to happen, nothing can stop it. We're a little nod that because the way our current reality is framed and operating, money's important. We do have some reassurance that we have some divine, possibly off-world future self-help in making these changes happen. The advice card we got, one of the main ones that jumped out at me as being our advice, is to be careful with your resources. In other words, no foolish spending. Don't think, oh, the dollar's going to be worthless, I might as well spend it. No, because if it can be traded one-on-one, it's only a temporary fluctuation. So be careful with your resources to the best of your resources. Do the planning you think you need to do to get through an interruption and deal with financial change. Queen of Pentacles was another reassuring card that showed up, and she is a card of not just compassion, but generosity. So when the dollar does finally go and an asset-backed currency replaces it, it's going to signal a really beautiful time for we humans on this plane of existence. So that's it for this video. The dollar's demise does seem to be unavoidable. Do what you can to prepare to get through some bumps and interruptions, in cash asset access and things like that. And don't let the tail wag the dog. Okay. So when the mainstream shouts, worry, worry, fear, fear, don't buy into it. Right now, while things are still open and operating and going along fairly normally, decide what you want to do and then do it. It's that simple. Okay. So until next time, I send you love and light and all things bright. And thank you so much for spending some of your time with me. I do appreciate it. Bye.